Okay, let's begin. First, if I may introduce the audience. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for attending this session towards the end of the afternoon. I hope, as well as the rest of the organizers, that you've enjoyed the event so far today. So it's nice to see you here for this discussion, for which I will be your moderator. My name is Hamad Khan. I work in the field of experience design, innovation, and strategic consulting for the last 20 years, particularly here in the region, in Saudi Arabia and UAE. And it's my pleasure to host this session for you on the topic of generative AI in the context of customer engagement and content marketing. So Gen AI, as we know it, has of course come to prominence very much so in the last year. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you an esteemed group of panelists here who will take us through their experience and knowledge of this topic with relation to their personal experience, their professional experience, and where we can see this go next. So thank you again for attending, and salam again to my panelists. If I may ask you all to, in sequence, Mr. Muhammad, perhaps with starting with yourselves, and we'll go down the line. Please reintroduce yourselves to the audience, and then I will come back to each of you with some questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you everyone to being here today. I'm محمد الشمري, Digital Client Director, E&, Enterprise. I've been in the field for 15 years in digital transformation, served in the government for a period of time, and then I moved to the private sector. I'm today serving multiple clients to enhance their customer experience and the engagement with the customer. Yes.
Welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Malik Rashid. I am a partner and Chief Technology Officer of Devoteam. And for the past 15 years, we've been responsible to establish the two most important topics relevant to this conference, which is the customer experience function and the data and artificial intelligence function. And hopefully from within that experience we'll be able to provide you with some sort of valuable hints that combines both of generative AI and content. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining this session. My name's Paul Chesterman. I'm the co-owner and director of sales at Ethos, an experience research company. I've spent my entire career working in customer experience research, user experience research, and consumer insights. So I have a unique understanding of the critical business questions that companies have and the technology they can use to answer them. Thanks.
Greeting to everyone. Well, my name is محمد اليوسف. I'm the Executive Director of Data and التعاونية. I've been working in the field for more than 15 years. I've been working in different sectors, government, financial sectors, and also insurance. Well, AI and the customer experience has been evaluating in all sectors, and honestly, the journey it's long. And I hope we can add something for you today, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Okay, let's get straight started into our debate. So now that we know everybody, I'd love to hear each of your personal experiences of interacting with generative AI. So this could be content, could be customer touch points, it could be, any other form of interaction that you've had with an AI. And I would love to hear about that experience and how it compared to a human experience in terms of its differences, its benefits, or perhaps it doesn't reach the same standard. So maybe a bit of a story from each of you would be a nice starting point to hear. let's maybe go in reverse order. Muhammad, so if I can ask you to open for us on this topic.
All right. I believe each one of us has interacted with AI in different form, either in virtual assistants or chatbot, etc. The experience was outstanding. The response is quick. It's kind of efficient. But comparing that with a human interaction, I believe it's still lacked of a personal touch, and also the emphasis that a human can kind of provide in the conversation.
Yeah. Paul, please. Yeah.
I'm going to talk about my most recent interaction with generative AI. And it was actually when I had to rebook my flight from New York here to Riyadh for the conference. So I realized I didn't leave enough time to adjust to the time zone. So I wanted to change my flight to be a little earlier. And travel in general for a customer is a stressful time, especially if you need to change your flight. Just add stress. It means you did something wrong, your plans changed. So you want to solve that problem as quickly as possible. So what I did is I went to the airline's website and I interacted with their chatbot. So I asked the chatbot what my available options were to leave earlier. And it provided me immediately with available nearby airports and flights that I could choose from. And it did so way faster than a human could, which led to a very great customer experience. But when I reflected on this experience, I realized it didn't just help me personally, but it helped other customers that were reaching out at that exact moment. AI's power in providing information very quickly to simple questions is important because it also frees up the time of human agents to work on more complex problems that require human nuance and more empathetic responses.
And also each response you give helps the machine to learn as well.
Exactly.
There you go. Okay, Malik.
Well, in person, I was thrilled, Hamad. It changed the way I do search over the net. For example, as a consumer, I'm not choosing the Google bar as my first option for investigation. I go to the $20 base subscription of Chat4 and simply lay off the question. And from there, it leads to yet other interesting but more guided investigations. And the way the search bar engine changed the humanity 20 years ago, and ChatGPT and the like of all generative AI will change the way we interact with technology in general. My friend.
Very true. Very true. Muhammad.
Okay. Actually, it was a very impressive experience. The first time I used ChatGPT, I was shocked, really shocked. How can the technology reach to that level? It reminded the first time I used the PC back to 1997. Sorry, I'm young. So I immediately, maybe it was the first interaction between us, real use for AI as consumer with ChatGPT. Actually, I wrote my first email using ChatGPT at that time. I was impressed. How can I write this professional email by this way? So the first thing I've done, I bring all my team, 25 salesperson. I teach them how to write email using the AI. It was very professional and the next level of communication enhancement in my organization. Our CEO actually was impressed about the email. I said, what about making this email nicer? So I just asked ChatGPT, please make this email nicer. It was really strange experience. It was very nice email. So, and then we take it to the next level, how to generate content, how to generate very professional PowerPoint front of the customer, how to write a professional company profile, customized based on the customer needs. So in the sales, we use it. And every day, every minute, it is our right hand, even to investigate the company, the customer we are planning to visit. we use it in our daily work. And there's another actually details we dropped in, but this is my personal experience at the beginning.
Amazing. Yeah, let's dive into this a little bit deeper then. So I heard a few different experiences there. So there was enhancement, there was search, there was servicing, you know. So even from a personal perspective, you're finding different uses and use cases, you know, coming to light. So in your workplace, in your roles that you're all working with, you know, and I think you mentioned just now, Muhammad, that you've taken that personal experience into the office, into your teams to say there is an enhancement capability here that everybody can use. I'd love to hear a bit more about what you're all doing to take, you know, generative AI as a technology into either your product or the teams that you're working with in order to create this new value of interaction. And maybe you can just tell us a bit about the actual work that you're involved in, where this is coming, you know, into practice. Maybe let's start out of sequence. Paul, perhaps maybe you can give us a view.
So there we go. We haven't directly implemented generative AI for customer engagement, but we have implemented generative AI into our platform to help other companies improve their customer engagements. So at Ethos, we're an experience research platform, which essentially helps other businesses capture, analyze, and interpret customer experiences through the forms of video, pictures, and text, mostly qualitative means. And the first step in creating engaging customer experiences is getting to know your customer better. What are their needs? What are their expectations? Without knowing these things, you can't create engaging experiences. And qualitative methods are really the best way to unearth these things. So when we capture all this unstructured data through Ethos, traditionally, it took a human to read through all the transcriptions, watch the videos, go through text and pictures, which you can imagine is a very time-consuming thing. So implementing generative AI into our technology allows people to sort through this data much more quickly than ever was possible before. So an example is we worked with a large travel company who released a new rewards program that had very low engagement and customer adoption, and they had no idea why. So they were able to leverage Ethos to dig into the experiences, collect feedback from customers in the form of video. They used Ethos's screen recording capabilities to actually watch customers using the rewards program on their app and website. And then they pumped all of those videos and responses into our AI to unearth insights virtually instantly. This allowed them to take corrective actions much more quickly than it would have been able to in the past, which ultimately allowed them to increase engagement and the adoption as well.
Fantastic. Dr. Malik, please.
Well, we are a technology that implements Gen AI solutions as well, similar to yours as well, Paul. So, and we implement them for all different types of usage. One of the most eminent usage of Gen AI is with call centers. So call centers will immediately be able to be processed on real time regarding the content of the call, summarization of the call, the actions that needs to be really taken into that. This is from the online perspective. And from the offline perspective, Gen AI would be able to tap into so much different types of huge and big data of calls for the past 10 years to look at different types of consumer behavior that is really providing several companies who are implementing our technologies with how the consumer is really thinking in a way that was never able to be analyzed before. Even in our own company, in Devoteam, now we are really building our own Gen AI network that would be really, that is with the target of introducing efficiency in work by around 40% cut down on time that can be really done by Gen AI. We are taking it very seriously, and all organizations should really think at it from an experience of a consumer and an experience of an employee. How would really Gen AI be able to boost productivity to the extreme?
Very good. So already we're seeing a couple of value points come out, both in terms of quality of insight and then also sort of hardline performance improvement as well, like time and efficiency as well. Muhammad, perhaps you can also tell us how you're seeing these solutions affect your customer experience channels.
Sure. Actually, and Enterprise, we are a telco company, as you know, and UAE, the biggest one. So we are one of the biggest consumers for all the AI and Gen AI in UAE. Actually, the channel, it doesn't matter. Is it a phone call? It is an omni-channel, whatever. Personalizing the response is the core. We are looking and we think it will solve the problem, especially with our customer, the different personas. So personalizing the message, the content, with the right time, right persona is our main focus. So capitalizing on our data, applying the Gen AI in our internal, which is the first source of data, and the external thing and external source of data is the most important thing, and the one which gives us the edge to be ahead in this market. So we learned in the hard way, because we are the user and the technology provider in the same time. So I think now we are in maturity level that we say, yes, we are one of the consumer, we are one of the technology provider. We help our customer to reduce the cost, more efficiency. Maybe the main challenge, maybe we discussed before we join, is the Arabic. Injecting the Arabic in the Gen AI is actually a little bit complicated. But as you know, in UAE, we are doing very advanced research in this matter, and we are in advanced stage to localize all the content and make it more efficient. Yes, this is our experience, and I hope I had something to the panel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I think for those of you who haven't maybe heard, certainly the large language models of Arabic that have already been worked on for the last few years are improving and gathering pace very rapidly. And actually, this region and the focus on the Arabic language, I think, was probably one of the more advanced, large language models after English to really take it seriously. And I think it's reflective of what we see in the region, for a hunger for, technology to be an enhancement, but also to be relevant, not just buy and adopt solutions and deploy them, but actually say, okay, we know the technology is possible, but how do we make it useful for ourselves? And so that investment into an Arabic large language model that can be, socialized and made available through APIs like ChatGPT has been, is already gathering pace. And I think it's going to be super exciting when we see that being more commercially available as a solution platform as well.
It's happening.
Yes.
Yes, Arabic large language models is definitely a need here in this market. And in Emirates, they were really leading in the beginning with GIS. So GIS, the name of the mountain there, has been translated into an open source a platform. But Saudi as well here is really doing strong steps into large language models for Arabic. Alam, for example, is their platform for that, and it's going stronger and stronger per day. Very soon we'll be witnessing the early governmental usage of Alam here. Will be really as well leading into implementing such solutions. And as well in Emirates, GIS has been heavily supported by the G42 company. They established a company for it called Core 42, and it's going well into that direction. I wish that as well other Arabic countries would join into that race, but for the time being, it's Emirates and Saudi who are really leading Arabization in the Gen AI.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the local clouds and the private cloud networks becoming, bigger and more enhanced here is also going to help that technology to be more available. Muhammad, please, we'd love to hear your experiences of using the technology within the customer channel space.
maybe at التعاونية, our Gen AI initiative is a corner.
Muhammad, sorry, if you wouldn't mind putting the mic a little bit closer.
Do you hear me now?
Thank you.
Maybe at التعاونية, the Gen AI initiative is a cornerstone in our strategy. And luckily, we have been executing and implementing AI since 2023. And AI have helped us to handle a high volume of requests from clients, which actually impact our client satisfaction. We've been using that in our chat bot in different languages. Maybe as we mentioned, Muhammad, Arabic is not still the best to be utilized, but English, other languages has been working well in an efficient way. And we're using as one to help us in our 360 profiling for the client. Doing some recommendation engine. Our recommendation engine is built on ML and AI as well. So far, it's doing outstanding, but we believe that it has to be enhanced more and more because our client is first. That's our strategy in Taoni.
Okay, yeah. I mean, okay, so some of the patterns that I'm hearing, are for sure the ability of Gen AI technologies to be able to help with, efficient analysis, deep insights, and, it's quite disruptive in terms of its potential for the interaction channels that we have. But it seems that it's been a more natural evolution because there's already been a technology enhancement to those sort of touch points. We talked about chat, for example, and things like that. But I'd like to sort of change the conversation a little bit now and talk a little bit more about actually generated content itself. So as well as interacting with an AI, what about when AI actually creates content itself for us to consume? So again, ChatGPT, Bard and others, have made it a lot more easier for us to see how textual content is being generated. So we can give a prompt and we can get a prompt and a natural language kind of dialogue is emerging. But what about if we elevate that generative AI content to the next level, like visual content? I'm a big fan, for example, of using Midjourney, and being able to use similar types of prompts to create imagery. And ChatGPT have also gone down that route and it's becoming more popular. Do you see a space for AI-generated content in your consumer-facing channels? So actual imagery, video, interactive services actually being produced by machines as opposed to by people. And is there any experiences already of that you can share with us? Dr. Malik, would you start us with this one?
It's quite numerous. For example, in urban planning, Gen AI is already being used in order to generate themes for the streets. So you can go here and say, this is the Tahliya Street, and I want to regenerate its theme based on Oxford. And you cannot really imagine the outcomes that are coming from that. Other examples such as forensics. So now with criminology, we'd be able as well to regenerate the human faces of skulls in no time. We can as well, based upon witnesses' answers, we would be able as well to generate the faces of crime. So imagery and videos in terms of generation, we are yet there, just started, but it will overtake text for sure.
Interesting. Muhammad, maybe you have a view?
Yeah, actually, as I said in the beginning, actually the most mature technology today is the content which is based on ChatGPT or any text generated to content. For the imaging, I think now we are in a stage, we say yes, we have capabilities, we have the engines which they can create, and maybe our marketing team, they are heavy using the AI to generate such of pictures, logo, whatever, by describing them. And I think now Adobe is doing a great job to implement such of AI technology in Adobe Photoshop and the others, which help all the designers to make more attractive content with low cost, with high efficiency, with all the pillars they need actually in the creativity. But my humble opinion, AI will not be creative as the human being. It will not reach to the creativity level. It's just copying and modifying. So relying on the AI all the time, it doesn't work, for now at least. But in the future, definitely, as smart we use it, as smart we ask the right question, we get the right content we need in this perspective.
It gives us a good head start, but not a replacement, maybe. Muhammad, I know we were talking before the panel as well. You had similar views as well in terms of its comparison of creativity relative to people, but maybe you'd like to build on that comment for us.
Well, I believe Gen AI is not intended to change our current method. It's actually just enhance it and improve it and optimize the work. Definitely Gen AI will help us to have the basic content, whatever has been there in the online or in the databases. But what I believe, and I will always believe, that human creativity is invaluable. It cannot be replaced. Gen AI will be evolving while the human creativity evolves. Otherwise, we will stick in certain creativity that even Gen AI cannot exceed.
I have one final point on this, but Paul, I'd like to hear your final views before I take us to my final question for this afternoon.
Great. So in terms of using Gen AI to create images and videos, we haven't had a whole lot of success there. Whenever I ask it to create a human image, it ends up having 3 fingers or something weird about it. So we primarily use it for coming up with blog posts, website content, and one of the most challenging aspects of the creative process coming up with articles is getting started. And that's really the power of AI in terms of content generation to me, is that it ensures you never have a blank page and you always have a starting point. So I agree with my other panelists here that AI is a tool that enhances human creativity and it helps speed up the creative process.
Thank you, gentlemen. I think for me, this brings us to the final point we will discuss.
If you allow me to add something.
Love it, please.
I think one of the challenges gonna be facing in the near future is the copyright. Nobody knows, right, until now, what is the copyright for the generated content from AI. So maybe in the future we'll face this challenge. There is no clear regulations. So marketing people, they should be very, very careful for this point and using AI carefully until the regulation comes more clear.
Modified copyright regulations, not the other way around. By the copyright regulations, it will be modified.
Yeah, I don't agree just copying the output from generative AI into an article and posting it. In addition to copyright issues, we also don't know how search engines are treating AI-generated content. If they're not already penalizing it, there's a highly likelihood in the future that you will suffer in search rankings if you're just using strictly Gen AI content.
Yeah, I think it's certainly acted as a very quick shortcut, especially in this last year or two where it's become more publicly available. And that's great. It means the technology has become accessible. It means the layperson, anybody can, have a quick experiment and generate something very surprising. You were talking earlier, Muhammad, about the surprise when you first interact, and it inspires you to say, what else could I do with that? So I think that's been, a great opportunity to finally make AI accessible. I often joke with people, those of us in the industry, it's not a new paradigm, right? AI has been around for a 50-year industry, and actually it's taken that long for it to get smart enough to be able to introduce it to the public. It didn't happen in the last 3 years, right? It took 50 years of engineering to get it to be that smart. But the point is it's here now and it's in the public conscious. But, that brings me to the point around what does this mean to us as individuals? And I'm going to raise, a very common topic that is both in the press and in our conversations in context of what we've discussed, which is, what do you all believe is going to be the impact of introducing, using, and benefiting from such technology when it comes to the impact on our resources? So, for example, what is the opportunity cost of using this technology? Is it going to reduce our investment in human skills? Is it going to mean a much bigger investment in transferability of skills in people? And given that, there's big predictions about losing jobs or replacing jobs, but also a lot of professional response to that suggests that's not going to happen. And you mentioned Adobe as well, and I wanted to also mention Microsoft, or I think have seen this coming, right? And rather than saying here's a replacement, they called it Microsoft Copilot, right? And they've integrated it into Microsoft Office because it's the change process. It's saying, let's go on a journey together. And the AI is your co-pilot, right? It's there with you on the way. It's not here to change or replace. But given the experiences you've all described here today, what do you anticipate will happen? And maybe what advice can you share with the audience about whether or not we should be worried about human impact, or whether or not it's not as dramatic as the press maybe makes it sound? Dr. Malik, please.
In the long term, it is dramatic, definitely. But let's not think of the long term for now and think of the short term over the coming few years. And what we can say that Gen AI will replace those employees or those people who are not accustomed to Gen AI. So if you want to build a career over the coming period, definitely need to be accustomed to what is Gen AI, what does it do for you, how does it interact with your job, with your life, with your function. You need to learn the new terminologies called the prompt design. You need to ask the right, smartly said by Muhammad, you need to ask the right question, and there are rules to lay out the right questions. So for now, there's no threat on humanity. Actually, it will save more valuable time for creativity. So whatever time that you would be really saving in the job, it will be really needed to generate more ideas. This is how it is being perceived today. How things will evolve, well, when later on, when HR organizations, when they will redesign an organization structure, they will always look at humanoid functions and bot functions. And this will be changing the way we work forever. It will happen soon.
I agree. Paul?
So, Gen AI is a tool, and people who learn how to use it are going to become more efficient and better at their jobs. So I think in the workplace, people who start to leverage Gen AI in their everyday routines are going to separate themselves from their peers. And since Gen AI is making people more efficient, I do have concerns it will lead to lower headcounts, but ultimately it comes down to what the company's initiatives are. They can increase productivity, or if they want to reduce costs, they're going to always find a way.
Muhammad?
Well, I can't agree more with our colleagues, but I believe maybe the Gen AI in general will help us to optimize the processes, operational work, which will lead us to utilize our employee in a better scale. Would that will take us to replace our human capital? I don't think so. Our employees are our assets. They hold our values, and maybe that will take us to an area where we can focus more on our employees, upscale their skills, and make them think more strategic than operation. That's my thoughts about it.
Muhammad, your closing thoughts on this one?
Yeah. Actually, if I'm thinking about Gen AI, it reminds me of the first industrial revolution, when people scared that everyone will be fired from the factories because there is a machine going to do the job. actually, the machines need someone to drive, someone to fix. So it created another opportunities to other people to have a better chance and better jobs. And this is the chance today we see behind Gen AI. We had an experience. It is a little bit different, but it's similar. We implemented RPA in the organization to automate all the processes, HR processes, to issue a visa, to renew iqama, and all those repetitive works. But our HR team remains as they are, and we put them in somewhere else to do courses, to enhance the environment of the employees, to think out of the box. I think these things no AI in the world can do. So optimizing our team, utilizing our capabilities in the right place, it is our priorities when we implement and enable the AI in the organization.
Very good. I'm excited to hear some of the inspirational sort of closing comments here around human creativity. And what's interesting to me, and I'd like to maybe paraphrase to the audience here, is that throughout the discussion, I'm hearing that the creativity part of generative AI genuinely seems to already be running through the entire value chain. So we started talking about experiences that you've had with generative AI touch points. We've talked about solutions and quality and efficiency that you're introducing in the experience of your customers and indeed the clients you serve. And we talked about the opportunity of creative content becoming more available. Perhaps it's not there yet, but we're seeing there's another, layer of AI creativity to be seen. But also that human creativity still seems to be at the heart of that, and whether it's making people available to be creative or enhancing their creativity and potential with AI, as an enhancement to that. I think that's a nice sort of summary from yourselves as experts in this field, because it helps to dispel the myths that we hear in the media around job displacement or disruption, or, machines being, taking over the human element. And it's easy for us to say that won't happen, but to hear it the way that you've each described, with that experience and leadership in mind, I think is comforting, and something that I think means there's still a more exciting area ahead of us to see where it takes us next. So I would like to thank each of you for your time and your expertise in the commentary. I don't know if there are any questions from the audience that anybody would like to ask, or indeed how we're doing for time. Do we have any time? No, I'm being told no. But equally, thank you everybody for your attention. Thank you to my panelists for your wonderful comments. Please do speak to each of them if you have further follow-up that you would like to have on this debate. And enjoy the final moments of today's conference. Inshallah, we'll see you all tomorrow. And thank you again to the organizers. Thank you, everybody. Ma salama, shukran.